My fiancé's buddies dared him to put me in my place before the wedding. So at our engagement party, he suddenly announced to everyone, when you've missed out on the person you really wanted to marry, it doesn't matter who you end up with. Just like that, I became the butt of every joke. But I wasn't angry at all. In fact, I cheerfully handed out wedding invitations to everyone. Because I knew something they didn't. At my wedding, someone was going to crash it and try to run away with me. And that someone was one of the very friends who had put my fiancé up to it. I found Sam with his 3 best friends. "Sam, you really pulled it off," one of them said. "That line about missing out on the one you really wanted has your fiancé wrapped around your finger." Jenna looked like she was about to cry. Sam just smiled. "It was you 3 who gave me the idea. You insisted I had to show her who's boss before the wedding. We're just looking out for you, man. Don't want you getting whipped after you're married." The others chimed in. "Seriously. Jenna's cute, but that's about it. She's pretty average otherwise. If you don't put your foot down now, she'll be walking all over you later." Sam ate it all up. He even raised his glass and toasted them. "Thanks to you guys, Jenna is completely obedient now." I pushed the door open, cutting him off. "What's all the chatter about?" I smiled sweetly, my eyes sweeping over his 3 friends. Sam's tone was cold. "What are you doing here?" "I came to give these 3 their invitations," I said softly. As soon as the words left my mouth, all 3 of them stiffened. I pretended not to notice, pulling the invitations from my purse with a smile. "You're Sam's best friends. You have to be there to celebrate with us." Inside the invitations was a picture of Sam and me, an intimate shot from our wedding photo shoot. Each of them stared at it, their faces unreadable. Also, about the flowers for the wedding. I turned to consult with Sam, but he was already getting impatient. "You can just decide." "Really? Then I'll pick all my favorites, honey." Sam froze. "What did you just call me?" "Honey. We're engaged now, so it's time for a change, right?" My smile was saccharine sweet, my eyes sparkling with excitement for the wedding. "And I wanted to thank you." Thank me for what?" "For giving me so much freedom with the wedding planning. I'm so happy we're going to spend the rest of our lives together." Sam blushed. Even the dim lighting couldn't hide the red creeping up his neck. "Okay, I'll get going and let you guys hang out. Enjoy your last few moments of freedom, honey." I left the private room with a spring in my step. Sam was still lost in the echo of me calling him honey. He didn't notice. 3 pairs of intense, possessive eyes were glued to my back. Sam has 3 childhood friends. Ryan, the F1 race car driver. Leo, the chart-topping pop star. And Felix, the artist. Each of them comes from a prominent family and is impossibly handsome. And just as they said, why would a normal girl like me ever dream of marrying Sam? After closing the door to their room, I didn't go far. I waited until they left. Then I walked over to the trash can and saw a freshly discarded photo. It was the wedding photo from our invitation. Only Sam's half had been violently ripped off. His face was crumpled in someone's fist. But they didn't know. I had designed each of their 3 invitations differently. Based on the part that was torn away, I knew exactly who threw it out. Leo, oh, Leo. I looked up. On the massive screen across the street, Leo's new commercial was playing on a loop. Pale skin, delicate features. Could he be the one who crashes my wedding? It all started last week. The night before my engagement party, I had a strange dream. I dreamed that the world I lived in was actually a novel. I dreamed that Sam would say those disrespectful words at our engagement party. And I dreamed that, despite the humiliation, would cling to our past and go through with the wedding. But during the ceremony, someone crashed it. He wore a mask and a hat, grabbing my hand and asking me over and over if I would go with him. I refused. I chose to stay and become Sam's wife. But from that day on, a wall went up between Sam and me. He was convinced the whole thing was a stunt I'd orchestrated myself, just to teach him a lesson. No matter how I tried to explain, he wouldn't listen. Later, Sam's first love returned to the country, and he finally got the chance to marry the story's true heroine. As for me, I fell into a deep depression and died of breast cancer. The dream ended there. I shot awake, drenched in a cold sweat. It felt real. Too real. The feel of the wedding in my dream, it was so vivid, it felt like it had just happened. I tried to dismiss it as just a nightmare. But at the engagement party the next day, Sam repeated that line, word for word. The room erupted in whispers. My mind went completely blank. And in that moment, I finally understood. I was just the disposable side character, a plot device to push the main couple together, destined to die an early death. And the wedding crasher? Just another tool to make Sam despise me. But the man who crashed the wedding, there was something so familiar about him. Even though I couldn't see his face, I knew he had to be one of Sam's 3 most trusted friends. But which one? The answer, perhaps, was right in front of me. As I stared at the photo in the trash, I heard frantic footsteps behind me. I turned around and came face to face with Leo's panicked expression. "Jenna, what are you still doing here?" Then, his eyes darted to the photo. He froze, the color draining from his face. "What's with the photo?" I asked. Leo's mind raced. "I guess Ryan or Felix must have thrown it out." "Are you sure?" "Yeah." The A-list celebrity nodded, trying his best to look calm. But the photo in every invitation was different. "Leo, why are you lying?" The tips of his ears turned red, but he still tried to play it tough. "Fine, I threw it out." "So what?" "Sam's my best friend, and I don't think you're good enough for him." "Oh." I didn't argue. Instead, I changed the subject. "So, what did you think of the wedding photo?" "It's beautiful," he blurted out, almost forgetting he'd just been insulting me. He bit his lip in regret, and this time his entire neck flushed red. "I mean, the photo has a nice vibe. I definitely wasn't saying you look good. You know, I'm in showbiz, I've seen every kind of beautiful woman. To me, you're just okay. C-list at best. No, D-list, Z-list, even." He was tripping over his own words. I didn't call him out on it. I let him finish before I spoke again. "By the way, Leo, do you know what our wedding song is?" "What?" "It's the lead single from your last album, Quietly." I smiled at him as he stood there, stunned. I picked it out myself. Leo wrote the lyrics for Quietly himself. It's a song about loving a girl he can't have. When it was released, it shot to the top of every music chart. Fans speculated endlessly about whether the song was based on his real-life experience. But because of how dismissive Leo always was toward me, I never imagined that the girl in Quietly was me. Now, it seemed I had my answer. The superstar who commanded the stage and the charts was now blushing like a schoolboy whose secret crush had been exposed. His face and neck were beet red. He stammered, trying to explain himself, but the words came out as a jumbled mess. Eventually, I left him there before any passers-by could recognize him. I thought I had my man. Leo had to be the one who would crash the wedding. But I never expected what happened next. A week later, an anonymous portrait showed up at my door. The note attached said, "Don't marry Sam." The package was just left on my doorstep, perfectly placed in a surveillance camera's blind spot. There was no tracking number, no way to trace it. The bride in the painting was me, in my wedding dress. But the groom whose arm I was holding wasn't Sam. The artist had deliberately blurred the groom's face, so I couldn't make it out. But I was sure of one thing. Leo hadn't sent this. Because Leo couldn't draw to save his life. So who could it be? Over the next few days, a new painting and a fresh bouquet of dew-kissed flowers appeared at my door every morning. The attached card always had a tender, romantic message. This went on for a week. Then, one morning, a man crept up to my door, avoiding the cameras, and placed today's flowers and painting down. Just as he was about to leave, I called out from behind him. "Felix, fancy seeing you here." The man froze. He didn't dare look up, trying to hide his face with his hat and mask. He was wearing a baseball cap and a black mask, just like the man from my dream. "Cat got your tongue?" I said, walking toward him with a smile. "Want to come in for a glass of water?" You have the wrong person." "No, I don't." "Felix, I'd recognize you even if you wrapped yourself up in a cocoon." "Why?" "Because, you're special." My vague answer made him jump to the wrong conclusion. He nervously pulled off his mask, revealing his refined, handsome face. Of the 4 friends, Felix was the one with the most aristocratic air. Born into a family of artists, he'd been surrounded by high culture his entire life. "When did you figure out it was me?" Felix asked. "Just now," I lied. In truth, I'd suspected him from the very first day. Felix was a collector and a curator. But very few people knew that he could also paint. As far as I knew, he was the only artist in the group. Sam had let that slip one night when he was drunk. "What were those cards about?" I asked, feigning confusion. "Have you had a secret crush on me this whole time?" "Of course not." Felix denied it immediately. But his eyes darted away, his guilt painfully obvious. I let out a relieved laugh. "I thought so. Your family is full of famous intellectuals and artists. There's no way you'd be interested in someone with a background as normal as mine." Felix could only nod along with my words. "Then why were you sending me all this stuff?" The conversation circled back. "Trapped," Felix finally said, "I was testing you for Sam." "Why test me?" "Because you're a flirt." "What?" "I'll be honest, Jenna. Since you've decided to marry Sam, you should tone it down a bit. Stop trying to seduce me." I was floored. "Wait, when did I ever try to seduce you?" "Every time you see me, you smile at me. And you do it on purpose, smiling so beautifully." Felix suddenly sounded righteous. "You're doing it right now. I know your eyes are pretty, but stop batting your eyelashes. I won't be bewitched by you." "Dude, everyone has to blink." I pointed at the paintings. "And what about these? You didn't have to paint masterpieces just to test me." "I admit you look a little good in a wedding dress, but just a little," Felix said, his tone as arrogant as ever. "I have an urge to document all beautiful things. Don't read too much into it." Since he put it that way, I nodded firmly. "Fine. From now on, I'll be on my best behavior and stay far away from you." Felix was stunned. "Wait, that's not what I meant." Before he could finish, I went inside, gathered up all the paintings and flowers he'd given me over the past week, and shoved them back into his arms. "From now on, we'll act like we don't know each other." I slammed the door shut, leaving a dazed Felix standing there, speechless. So far, both Leo and Felix were possible wedding crashers. And Sam was completely oblivious to their dark little secrets. Things were getting more and more interesting. I went to find Sam. He was at the racetrack with his 3 friends. Ryan, the F1 driver, spent most of his time competing abroad. Whenever he was back in the country, he'd invite the guys to his private track to let off some steam. It was Sam's favorite pastime. He wasn't happy to see me. There was a beautiful girl in his passenger seat. "Who's she?" I asked. "My navigator." "Don't lie to me. F1 cars don't need navigators." Sam tapped his fingers impatiently on the steering wheel. "The race is more fun with a girl in the passenger seat. Jenna, we're not officially married yet. Don't be so controlling." The next second, he slammed on the gas and shot off like a bolt of lightning. Sam was the first to cross the finish line. The girl in his passenger seat threw her arms up in excitement. When he turned, he saw that I was still there. Jenna, don't you trust me? She's just along for the ride. We're not doing anything. Can you stop watching me like a hawk? I just came to ask you if we need to add more tables. The guest list is over capacity. Then add them. Why do you need to ask me about something so small? He swung his long legs out of the car and chugged a bottle of water. He added, I can afford as many guests as we want. You need to stop being so petty. I shot to my feet. Sam, are you starting to regret getting engaged to me? Sam froze. He hadn't expected me to get genuinely angry, especially not in front of so many people. He looked embarrassed. Jenna, do you know what people are saying about me? They're saying I'm an idiot for marrying a woman who brings nothing to the table, who can't help my career at all. If it weren't for the fact that you're obedient and pretty, why do you think I would have chosen you? If you won't marry me, someone else will. As I said it, I glanced to the side. Leo and Felix were both secretly watching me. And so was Ryan. But he only looked for a second before his gaze dropped, as if he didn't even know me. From the very beginning, Ryan was the one person I ruled out. He wasn't like the others. When the other three were debating which starlet had the best body, Ryan was tinkering with his race car. When the other three were out partying, Ryan was still tinkering with his race car. The only thing that existed in his world was cars. Ryan was cold and distant. He only hung out with Sam and the others because their parents were friends. He rarely spoke. Most of the time, he was just a silent observer. Sam once told me that an F1 car costs upwards of $20 million to build. Ryan had a whole garage full of them. I'd barely exchanged a few words with the racer. So, from the start, I never considered him. Today, I picked a fight with Sam on purpose. I wanted to see how Leo and Felix would react. The hunger in their eyes was almost impossible to hide. That night, Sam came over to apologize. He said he had a bit of pre-wedding anxiety and that I shouldn't take it to heart. After Sam fell asleep, I quietly checked his phone. In their 4-person group chat. Sam, guys, I think I went a little too far today. Leo, too far how? Sam, I shouldn't have talked to Jenna like that. Felix, a soft man is a man who gets controlled by a woman. Leo, didn't we tell you? Countless guys get married and their wives lock them down. No more fun, no more freedom. You forget all that? Sam, but my point was to put her in her place so she'd listen to me, not to actually drive her away. Felix, what about Nina? Nina was the original story's heroine. And Sam's first love, buried deep in his heart. Sam, Nina and I, that's impossible now. Jenna is the best choice for me. Felix, why? Even if Nina doesn't come back, you could find someone from a good family. Sam, but Jenna's personality is just like hers. Especially when she's angry. No wonder Sam had apologized. The angrier I got, the more I resembled the heroine. Even though I already knew all of this, seeing Sam type it out himself sent a sharp, stinging pain through my heart. Suddenly, I started looking forward to someone crashing my wedding. The rumors about me grew more and more wild. Everyone said I was hopelessly in love with Sam. He had publicly humiliated me, yet I was still dead set on marrying him. Others said it was the allure of money. I ignored it all. The wedding day arrived quickly. I suggested we have the ceremony first and get the marriage license later. Sam didn't think much of it and agreed. But to my surprise, Leo, Felix, and Ryan all declined my request to be groomsmen, each giving a different excuse. During the ring exchange, the venue was suddenly plunged into darkness. The lights went out. A staff member said they were working on fixing it. Sam grumbled, how could something like this happen? Just then, a man in a mask and a hat rushed onto the stage. He grabbed my hand and asked, Jenna, will you come with me? The MC was stunned. The guests had never seen anything like it. Someone screamed, he's crashing the wedding. The room descended into chaos. My heart hammered in my chest. Everything from the dream was happening, right on schedule. I stared at the man in black, silent for a long moment. But just then, Sam suddenly grabbed my other hand. "Jenna, don't go with him." This part was new. It wasn't in the dream. In the dream, Sam had watched coldly as I refused, coldly went through the rest of the ceremony, and then coldly asked me afterward, "Was that an actor you hired?" But now, he was gripping my hand, his expression tense. "Jenna, you won't go with him, right?" "I know you won't." "Please, Jenna." Why was Sam acting differently than in the dream? Could it be that he'd also seen the plot of the novel? Did he know who the wedding crasher was? I looked up, staring at the man in front of me. And in that instant, I felt something rough against the palm of my left hand. Calluses. I understood. Only one person would have calluses like these on his hands. Only someone who spends all their time with their hands on a steering wheel would have calluses like that. I never, ever would have guessed it was him. According to my original plan, I was supposed to rip off his mask and hat in this moment. I was going to expose his disgusting desire for his friend's fiancée to the world. But on some strange impulse, I shook off Sam's hand. I squeezed the hand of the man in black, and I pulled him with me, running toward the exit. As I lifted my wedding dress, everyone saw that I was wearing sneakers. I ran toward the magnificent doors that were supposed to symbolize my marriage. Get out, get out. If I could just get out, I could escape my predetermined fate. The bright light from outside stung my eyes, but I had never felt so exhilarated. The man's car was parked right at the hotel entrance, ready to go. But the street was gridlocked. Behind us, Sam's family was about to chase us down. The man made a decision. "Get in. I'll figure something out." I knew he was an incredible driver. But if he started weaving through traffic and cutting people off, he could get his license revoked. His career would be over. Good thing I had come prepared. I rolled out a motorcycle I had hidden near the entrance, hiked up my massive skirt, tilted my head back, and threw his own words back at him. "Get on." He immediately swung himself onto the seat behind me. I gunned the engine and, to the shocked shouts and curses of Sam's family, we sped away. I was a great motorcycle rider. In fact, before I met Sam, I loved taking my bike out on deserted highways and just flying. But Sam said he liked quiet, gentle girls. So I gave up my hobby. I sped out of the city center, the late summer wind whipping past me, and I suddenly burst out laughing. To hell with being gentle, quiet, and obedient. I laughed like a wild, triumphant demon. I had prepared a small apartment for myself just outside the city. During the 3 months I was pretending to plan a wedding, I was also planning my escape. I parked the motorcycle in front of the small building. "Want to come up for a bit?" I asked the man on the back. He mumbled, "What are you going to do now? You're the one who crashed the wedding, and you're asking me what to do." "I crashed it, yes, because I didn't want you to be unhappy in the future, but you're free." I was stunned. "What did you say?" "You're free," he repeated, his voice low. "I crashed the wedding to set you free." I had considered 1,000 possibilities. That he crashed the wedding so I would be with him. Or that he just wanted to make Sam miserable. But I never, ever imagined this. That he just wanted me to be free. The man seemed clumsy when it came to feelings. He waved a hand dismissively. "Just be more careful next time. Don't date guys like that again." "Wait." I stopped him, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. "Don't you like me?" "I do," he answered without hesitation. Again, I was caught completely off guard. "Then why are you acting so magnanimous?" "Ryan." Ryan froze. "You recognized me?" "It's pretty hard not to." He looked a little lost for a moment. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to ruin your wedding, but Sam really isn't right for you. I tried to warn you, but you didn't seem to notice, so I had to resort to this." "Stop, stop." I cut off his explanation and stuck out one foot. Did you not see my sneakers? Or the motorcycle I had ready? Even if you hadn't shown up, I was going to run. Ryan slowly took off his mask. It's no wonder I had ruled him out first. He really didn't seem like the type to crash a wedding. He had a cold, almost intimidating look about him. You said you warned me. When? I invited Ryan upstairs and poured him a glass of water. He sat ramrod straight. I mentioned Nina in front of you once. Sam's ex. I vaguely remembered that. Ryan was usually so quiet. That day, he had surprisingly brought up the topic of Sam and his ex. But I didn't think anything of it. Who doesn't have an ex? No matter how great their relationship was, it was in the past. So I completely missed the subtext of what Ryan was trying to tell me. Besides, when Sam and I first started dating, he was so attentive and devoted. He let me look at his phone whenever I wanted. It never even crossed my mind to be suspicious. Looking back now, Sam's deep affection at the time was probably just guilt over not being able to forget Nina. Thank you, Ryan. For what? Even though I didn't get your hint, you tried. Don't mention it. It's what I should have done. He met my gaze, then quickly looked away, embarrassed. But as he turned, he saw my underwear hanging on the balcony to dry. Ryan's face instantly flushed bright red. He quickly averted his eyes, nervously clutching his glass. My God, who would have thought? A man with a face like that, in the most aggressive profession imaginable, was this innocent and pure? I'll go explain things to Sam, Ryan said. It's all my fault. You don't have to worry. If they ask, you can just put all the blame on me. I thought back to the original plot. In the book, I didn't go with him, and I never revealed his identity. Ryan left the country the next day. He never came back, not even at the end of the story. His role was tiny, like a background character meant to show how impressive the main character's social circle was. Can I ask you something? Why do you like me? We've barely ever interacted. Ryan lowered his eyes. We met a long time ago. You just didn't notice me that day. My first meeting with Ryan was 2 years ago. That day, he was challenged to a race on the coastal highway. The road had been cleared in advance, so there was no danger of an accident. But when Ryan got there, he learned his opponent wasn't in a car. It was a motorcycle. And the rider was a woman. Before the race, someone said to her, Jenna, your opponent today is a pro. Just take it easy. The rider just shrugged. So what if he's a pro? Doesn't mean I'll lose. Hearing that, Ryan glanced at her curiously. The girl had a brilliant smile. She swung her leg over the seat and put on her helmet. The sunlight seemed to dance on her. During the race that followed, Ryan found himself distracted, which rarely happened. In his peripheral vision, he kept seeing her long hair flying in the wind and her agile form on the bike. Ryan was a slow burn kind of person. He had never been interested in anyone before. At the time, he didn't understand what this distraction meant. It wasn't until he got home that night and couldn't sleep that he realized. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the image of that girl, racing like the wind. This went on for several days. Ryan finally realized something was wrong with him. He asked a few friends and eventually found out her name was Jenna. He got her number but didn't have the courage to add her. He rarely talked to girls. What would he even say after she accepted his friend request? He practiced over and over. But on the day he finally worked up the nerve, Sam introduced him to his new girlfriend. Ryan, this is my girlfriend, Jenna. Ryan said nothing. He silently watched his friend holding hands with his new girlfriend. No one knew that in his mind, he was silently saying the words he'd rehearsed. Hi, I'm Ryan. We raced that day. Ryan was raised in a very strict household. A friend's girlfriend wasn't a stranger, but she might as well have been. In other words, she was someone he absolutely had to keep his distance from. And Ryan did exactly that. One time, I went to meet Sam at a car modification shop. When I got there, I found out the shop was owned by Ryan. He was sitting on the floor, silently working on some car parts. I sat in a chair nearby, waiting for Sam. We were about 10 feet apart. From beginning to end, we exchanged only 3 sentences. "Hi, I'm here for Sam." "He's not here yet." "Have a seat." "Okay, thanks." And that was it. Ryan didn't even look up at me. It was from that day on that I thought Ryan hated me. Thinking back now, how much restraint was hidden in his silence. I'll never know. When we were done talking, Ryan stood up to leave. As I walked him to the door, I couldn't help but ask, "Ryan. Yeah? That afternoon I came to your shop, what were you really thinking?" Ryan was quiet for a moment. "I was thinking that betraying a friend and abandoning my morals didn't seem so hard after all." The news of the wedding crash spread like wildfire through our social circle. Someone even recorded a video and posted it online. Sam and I became the main topic of gossip. But strangely, Sam never came to confront me. I never blocked him. I thought he would call and demand to know why. But he didn't. He was abnormally calm. But maybe that was for the best. Maybe Sam realized the only person he ever truly loved was Nina. Of course, I had no plans to leave the city. My job was here. Why should I be the one to leave? Life settled into a peaceful routine for about 2 weeks. Then one evening, I was meeting a friend for dinner. As I walked into the restaurant, I saw 2 familiar figures. It was Leo and Felix. They looked thrilled to see me. "Jenna, fancy meeting you here. Can I help you? Where did you move to? Just because you broke up with Sam doesn't mean you had to block us. If there's nothing else, I have to go." "Wait." Leo stretched out an arm to stop me. They were both tall, and standing in front of me together, they felt like a wall trapping me in. "It was Ryan who took you, right? That sly fox. He always acts so quiet, but he plays dirtier than any of us. We heard you and Ryan aren't together. So we'll be straight with you. We're both interested. Why don't you consider one of us?" I feigned surprise. "Are you two proposing to date me at the same time? Who would be the main boyfriend and who would be the side piece?" Leo and Felix were stunned by my question. They looked at each other, and a flicker of hostility passed between them. "I'm not into that," Felix said. "Me neither." "I don't like to share," Leo added. "Oh, that's a tough one," I said, pretending to be conflicted. "You're both so great. I just can't choose." "Choose me. I can sing for you." "No, I'll write songs just for you." "If you want to go public, I guess I could agree to that." "Get out of here." "Jenna, choose me. If you're with me, you can quit that crappy job. I'll introduce you to the art world." I smiled faintly. "All right, then you two should fight it out. I'll choose whoever is left standing." Their faces both fell. "Are you messing with us? You just figured that out? I thought you guys were smart. You should have known from the moment you started throwing out photos and sending love letters." Leo whirled on Felix. "Love letters? Felix, you were sending her love letters behind my back?" Felix shot back, "And you, Leo? When you threw out that photo, you only ripped off Sam's part, didn't you?" They were childhood friends, so they knew each other's secrets. After a moment of bickering, they finally got back to the main point. "So you don't like either of us?" "Not only do I not like you, I actually find you pretty repulsive." "Why?" Both of the rich boys looked incredulous. "Because you don't respect me." I tilted my head up, looking at them with a blank expression. Your so-called like was nothing more than bad-mouthing me in front of Sam. By the way, when we were all face to face, why didn't either of you have the guts to admit you liked me? One of you said I wasn't good enough for Sam. The other said you were just testing me for him. Are your feelings that shameful? I let out a small, mocking laugh. You can't even admit it. You're worse than Sam. Both of them looked pale. They lifted their eyes and stared at something behind me. I turned and saw Sam, for the first time in a long while. I was surprised. I never expected to see him again in a place like this. It had only been a few weeks, but Sam had lost a lot of weight. His face was haggard. The three of them hadn't come together. Apparently, after the wedding, their group had fallen apart. Sam had cut off all contact with them. So had Ryan. Sam walked over and stood in front of me, shielding me. Leave Jenna alone. Stop harassing her. Leo sneered. And what right do you have to protect her now? I'll say it again. Stop harassing her. Felix laughed. Sam, who do you think you are? All it took was a few words from us and you believed everything. The person who wronged Jenna the most was you. I know. Sam's body was trembling slightly. I've never tried to deny my mistakes, and I don't expect Jenna to forgive me, but you two don't get to have her either. Now that she's gone, you know how to cherish her? Where were you before? Get lost. You have no right to tell us what to do. Jenna, come over here with us. Get lost. Sam's voice rose. If you keep bothering her, I don't mind making a scene and getting everyone in this restaurant to watch. Are you crazy? Leo and Felix were both public figures. The last thing they wanted was to be the center of a public spectacle. If you get everyone's attention, aren't you afraid of becoming an even bigger joke? I'm not afraid of anything. As long as Jenna doesn't want to see you, I'll help her. There was a lonely determination in the line of Sam's back. Seeing that a crowd was starting to gather, Leo and Felix finally gave up, covering their faces and quickly leaving. Okay, they're gone. You can go eat in peace now. Sam spoke just like he used to. His voice was gentle, as if he were trying to comfort me. But through it all, he never dared to meet my eyes. But I couldn't leave. Sam was having a family dinner. Hearing the commotion, his parents came out of their private room and saw me. The anger from the runaway bride incident flared up instantly. His mother, Mrs. Chen, refused to let me go, insisting we needed to talk. She dragged me into their room. A whole host of Sam's relatives stared at me like a pack of wolves. Jenna, we've been good to you, haven't we? Even though your family isn't wealthy, we never looked down on you. Sam's parents had said this to me countless times. I'd learned long ago that the moment they said those words, it meant they were already looking down on me. Mrs. Chen continued, how could you be so irresponsible? Just running away from your own wedding. And who was that man? An ex-boyfriend? Or someone you were cheating on my son with? My son is rich and handsome. How could you not be satisfied? With your background, who do you think you'll find that's any better? Their accusations flew at me like cannonballs. Are all parents this biased? The thing Sam had said at the engagement party, in their eyes, that was him being genuine, him being wronged by me. But me running away from the wedding? That was irresponsible. That was cheating. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but laugh. You're laughing? What's so funny? Oh my, this girl, Tisk, she's really something else, so shameless. Mom, stop it. I won't stop. I'm going to get to the bottom of this today. When did she start cheating? Jenna didn't cheat. If she didn't cheat, why would she run off with another man? She ruined the wedding. Our family has been completely humiliated because of her. It wasn't her, it was me. Sam suddenly shouted, startling everyone. I'm the one who wronged Jenna. I didn't want to get married anymore. I cheated. That's why I let Jenna do what she did. There was no other man. The person who crashed the wedding was an actor I hired for her. Are you insane? I didn't give Jenna enough respect at the engagement party, so it's only right that she got her payback at the wedding. Stop asking questions. If you still won't let her go. Sam paused, then said with chilling calm, "Then I'll shave my head and join a monastery tomorrow." "Oh, it's not that serious. We just wanted to ask her a few questions." Sam was the only heir in their family. The moment he said he was going to become a monk, everyone's expression changed. They were terrified. That's how I was finally able to get away. As he walked me out, Sam was full of remorse. "I'm sorry for interrupting your dinner." "It's fine. I was planning on finding another restaurant anyway. I don't think this one and I are a good match." Sam gave a bitter smile. He walked me all the way to the door. Finally, he looked up and met my eyes. His gaze was filled with so many emotions, and his eyes were red. I couldn't help but ask, "Sam, do you know everything?" His lips trembled as he whispered something. "What did you say?" "I couldn't hear you." "Nothing." Sam waved. "Go eat. Don't go hungry." "Okay." I didn't say goodbye. I turned and walked away without looking back. I walked for a long, long time. So long that my friend finally asked, "Jenna, why are you so quiet? Are you thinking of getting back together with him?" I finally snapped out of it. Getting back together was impossible. It's just that I had heard what Sam had whispered, the words he hadn't dared to say out loud. He had said, "If being with me would only make you unhappy, then I'm willing to let you go." I thought about the original plot of the book. After marrying Sam, I was perpetually unhappy. I ended up getting late-stage breast cancer and died before I even turned 30. Sam, maybe he really did know something. But none of that had anything to do with me anymore. A gust of wind blew past, scattering the past like dust. It felt like a gentle goodbye. I felt lighter, freer, than I ever had before. In fact, right after I ran from the wedding, I scheduled a full physical for myself. All my results came back normal. From now on, I plan to get checked for breast cancer every 6 months. In the days that followed, I threw myself into my work. My life was full. That ridiculous wedding slowly faded from people's conversations. 6 months passed. My health was excellent. Just when everything had settled into a peaceful rhythm, I met someone. Nina. According to the original plot, I was supposed to meet her after my wedding. After marrying Sam, I had given up my job. In our first meeting, I, as Sam's wife, sought Nina out and used threats and bribes to make her stay away from him. But not this time. We were at an industry summit. According to the schedule, she was supposed to give a speech soon. But right now, Nina's face was pale, and she looked distraught. Her pants were stained. There was a noticeable spot of blood on the back. A colleague whispered to her, "Nina, did you bring a spare pair of pants?" "No, I had no idea my period would come today." "It's early. What are we going to do?" "This whole conference is being live-streamed." "Just cancel my part," Nina said, on the verge of tears. "I can't go on stage. I can't embarrass the company." "Sigh, and you came all the way back to the country just for this, but I guess there's no other choice." Their conversation reached my ears. In the original story, Nina did return to the country for an important conference. And our first meeting was because I sought her out. So this time, I'll be the one to make the first move, too. I stood up and walked toward her. "I have a spare pair of pants, if you'd like to wear them." Nina looked up at me, her eyes shining with relief. After the conference ended, Ryan was waiting for me at the entrance. As a friend. I had told him before that I wasn't ready for a relationship right now. Maybe it was because I wanted to enjoy this newfound freedom. Maybe it was because he was, after all, once Sam's friend. For many reasons, we were at a standstill. Ryan said he understood. He was often abroad for training and competitions. Until he could solve the problem of a long-distance relationship, he didn't want to hold me back either. He was here to see me today, so he probably had something to say. Just as we were about to get in the car, someone called my name from behind. "Wait." It was Nina. She was out of breath from running. When Ryan saw her, he frowned, thinking she was here to cause trouble. But Nina didn't even notice him. "Ma'am, thank you so much for lending me your pants. Can I get your number? I'll have them cleaned and return them to you, and I'd love to treat you to dinner to thank you." "Oh, sure." Nina added me on her phone. "May I ask your name?" "Jenna." She paused for a second, then looked up again. "Are you Sam's?" "I am." Ryan instinctively reached out, about to pull me behind him. But to our surprise, Nina just laughed. "So it's you. No wonder Sam liked you so much. You're beautiful and so kind. If I were a guy, I'd be head over heels too." "Hey, Ryan. What are you doing here?" Nina's gaze was clear, without a hint of malice or calculation. No wonder she was the heroine of the book. After saying goodbye to Nina, Ryan and I went to a restaurant. He was here to say farewell. "I'm heading overseas for training tomorrow. I'll be gone for 6 months this time." "Okay. Good luck with your competitions. Jenna, would you want to come see me race?" I looked up and met his slightly nervous gaze. "When the tickets go on sale, I'll send you a few. If you have time, you can come watch. If not, that's okay too. I know you're busy. Don't mail them to me." "Oh." Ryan looked disappointed. He had lost count of how many times he had made a move, only to be rejected by me. "What I mean is, you can give me the tickets in person." "What? Your next race is in the UK, right?" "Yes. I happen to be going to the UK next month for a project. It's open-ended, at least 6 months. You can just give me the tickets then. Save on postage." Ryan stared at me for 2 seconds before he finally understood what I was saying. Before he could celebrate, I pulled a red string bracelet out of my bag. "I got this for you from a temple. I hope you'll be safe in every race." Ryan took the red string and looked at it for a long, long time. Much later, when Ryan became the undisputed racing champion of Asia, he was always seen with a simple red string bracelet on his left wrist. He never took it off. The night before the wedding, I had a strange dream. I dreamed I was the male lead in a book. But the heroine wasn't Jenna. At our wedding, someone came to crash it. But Jenna didn't go with him. She chose me, without hesitation. But it was so strange. The me in the dream responded to her loyalty with nothing but suspicion and blame. Was that right? The wedding went on as planned, but the interruption became a thorn in my side. I suspected Jenna had staged it herself. I suspected she had hired an actor. It never occurred to me that Jenna was, and always had been, a radiant person. It was the most normal thing in the world for someone to love her. After the wedding, we grew distant. Then, my first love came back, adding fuel to the fire. Jenna eventually got sick and died. On the day she died, the me in the dream was at the park with my first love. The call from the hospital was impatiently hung up on by me. I watched it all happen, and I was going insane. I fell to my knees, begging the man in my dream. "Go to her. Please. Just go see her one last time. I'm begging you." But I screamed until my voice was hoarse, and no one saw me. I woke up in a state of terror. My pillow was soaked with sweat, and my body was shaking uncontrollably. I didn't understand. How could the me in the dream be so indifferent as a life faded away right before his eyes? And it was someone he had lived with, day in and day out. All for some so-called love? He could disregard a human life for that? How did I become that person? Fear swallowed me whole. I was terrified of becoming that man. And I was terrified of Jenna dying. Suddenly, I was filled with regret. I never should have listened to Leo and the others, never should have tried to put Jenna in her place. There were only 2 hours until I had to go pick up the bride. I grabbed my phone and searched for the causes of breast cancer. The webpage clearly listed emotional factors, chronic anger and sadness were major triggers. I threw my phone on the floor. I couldn't bear to look anymore. In the dream, the person who killed Jenna was me. I stayed awake until 5 a.m., until the sky began to lighten. I finally calmed down and went through the motions of getting ready for the wedding. It's okay, there's still time to fix this. Jenna won't go with the wedding crasher, and I just have to treat her well from now on. I had it all planned out. But I never anticipated that Jenna would make a completely different choice than she did in the dream. Ryan appeared. Jenna let him take her hand and didn't pull away. I panicked. Why was this different from the dream? Where did things go wrong? Later, I realized Jenna probably only hesitated for a few seconds. But in that moment, it felt longer than a lifetime. Long enough for me to start trembling and beg her to stay. But Jenna didn't look at me. She lifted her dress, revealing her favorite pair of sneakers. Jenna had once told me that in those shoes, she could run a marathon. And on our wedding day, she had worn them. My Jenna. She lifted her skirt and ran toward a world of bright, shining freedom. I didn't chase after her right away. I was too stunned. The image from my dream, of Jenna gaunt and withered from sickness, was still fresh in my mind. It was such a stark contrast to the woman in front of me now. In that moment, I had a dizzying realization. This is how she was always meant to be, free and unrestrained. Later, urged on by my family, I did run out after them. But all I saw was her and Ryan's backs as they disappeared. Right, Ryan. I knew he was the one who crashed the wedding. Because in the dream, Ryan, afraid I would misunderstand Jenna, had come to me to apologize and admit his role. But I hadn't believed him. Or maybe, I did believe him, but I still went home and found a reason to blame Jenna anyway. What was I even blaming her for? Standing on the side of the road, listening to the chatter of the guests, I suddenly understood. It was because Jenna was too good. She could even tolerate my awful words at the engagement party. It made me feel so small, so despicable. I wasn't surprised that Ryan liked her. In fact, back when Leo and Felix were trying to stir up trouble, Ryan had tried to stop me. He had asked, "Do you really have to treat Jenna this way?" I said, "What? You're going to be husband and wife. A family. So what? Don't let other people ruin your life together. Be good to her." I had just laughed. "Bro, you're overstepping." Ryan had rushed forward and punched me. The fight came out of nowhere. Afterward, he said he'd had too much to drink and didn't like my tone, so he'd lost his temper. But after having that dream, I finally understood everything. Ryan's restraint and his silence were the last shreds of respect he was giving me. The night Jenna ran, I sat alone in our new home all night. Memories of our time together flooded my mind. How could I have forgotten? The first time I saw Jenna, I was so captivated by her radiant smile I could barely breathe. I pursued her relentlessly, using every trick in the book I'd once looked down on. I liked her. It had nothing to do with Nina. Yes, when she was angry, she looked a little like Nina. But it was her smile I fell in love with. The part of her that was just Jenna. But for the past 2 years, Leo and Felix had been in my ear, whispering that I was just using Jenna as a substitute. I heard it so many times, I almost started to believe it was true. Jenna must have believed it, too. The disappointment piled up, and that's why she chose to leave. It was for the best. Being with me would make her sick. I would rather live with this guilt and pain forever than see her get that illness again. Sometimes, I go to see Jenna. Secretly. I'll follow her home, watch her go inside her building, and then I'll leave. As long as I see she's doing well, I feel at peace. 1 year later, I saw Nina. We stood a few feet apart, making polite small talk. To be honest, I couldn't face her. Every time I thought of how the me in my dream had hurt Jenna over and over because of her, I couldn't interact with her naturally. Let alone get close. Nina didn't seem to want to get close to me either. Her world revolved around her work now. As we were about to part ways, Nina suddenly said, "I saw Jenna." I froze. She's my guardian angel. Without her help, I wouldn't have been able to give that speech. I wouldn't be where I am today. I didn't understand what she meant. But from her expression, I could tell she genuinely liked Jenna. Nina turned to me and smiled. "Sam, you have good taste. It's a shame you weren't lucky enough to keep her." I was silent for a long time. Yeah, I wasn't that lucky. That was the last thing we ever said to each other. After that, Nina and I went our separate ways, our paths never crossing again. Another year passed. Everyone around me had changed. Felix's family went bankrupt, and Leo got caught in a massive scandal that ruined his career. But none of that had anything to do with me. My family's business was struggling, too. Some of our restaurants couldn't stay afloat and had to close. One day, I was walking down the street when the giant screen in the plaza switched to a live broadcast. A new racing champion was being crowned. Ryan, my former best friend. In a sport dominated by Europeans, he had left everyone in the dust. He had achieved his personal best. The entire stadium was cheering for him. When the camera panned over the audience, my breath caught in my throat. Jenna. She was just as radiant as ever. Ryan got out of his car and, like an excited kid, pushed past everyone and ran straight to her. In that moment, all the cameras in the world were on them. She hugged him. And I knew. The light that had once shone just for me had finally gone out.